So many movies, no time to watch them all. But Twig wants to see them, so we gave Drayfrjg a call. Now they're bringing on their friends, and together they will view these. So sit back and relax, it's Twig's Missing Movies.
Hello and welcome to Twig's Missing Movies, a show dedicated to watching the movies that Twig inexplicably hasn't seen. I'm your host Drayfrjg, and here is our cinematically clueless crow, Corvus Twig.
You hesitated that time.
I did. I wanted to try a different C word, but blanked, and I tried to recover as fast as I could.
I mean, you hit the. I think your heart is melting a bit, and you realize maybe I'm not so cinematically clueless.
I think we can upgrade you to curious at this point. Cinematically curious, crow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Curious is good because I am very curious about.
You're no longer completely clueless. You're now more curious.
Yeah, but God, it's like we've got 3 C words, but cinematically has to be a soft C. It's not kinematically clueless, crow, but maybe
we could say it
kinematically.
Words.
I love the kinema.
Look, words always say the words that we say, so long as we continue to say them the way that they are, right? I mean, the evolution of language demands that new words are created. I mean, damn, we don't even talk like we did 100 years ago, you know?
I know, right?
So,
I don't know. I mean, that does have something to do with like cinema. It's like something you watch a movie from the early days of cinema, the early talkies, and the manner in which people speak was that how people back then actually talked, or was that cinema speak? Was that the way that actors thought they had to talk on film?
Well, I mean, they used to give each other a lot of dick back in the day, you know, just some good straight dick, man to man. It used to mean talking. It used to mean like talking, you know, having a one-on-one, like a heart-to-heart, you know.
Well, but I'm not talking just about
man.
I'm not talking just about you know, phrases and slang and stuff like that. I'm talking more just about the way people spoke. Like you watch old movies and so many women, they're always talking like this and they're so breathless in everything they say. And it's just like I've never met a woman who talks like that.
I think that's more of an inflection on how they speak rather than the words they're actually speaking. I'm talking strictly the words that are being spoken.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it also part of that probably the bustiers that they had to wear back then were a little bit tighter. It was the way. I mean, okay, good comparison, easy comparison here. VTuber voices. Right? Think about how many VTubers put on the like a high pitched voice. Right? That was just the VTuber voice at the time. I hate to do this to everybody right now, but there's always been a VTuber voice.
Oh, absolutely. There's several friends that when they're talking in real life versus when I watch their streams, it's like, yeah, you're putting on a little bit of a voice.
I mean, even when I stream, I either do a little bit of a higher or a little bit of a lower, excuse me, voice. When I'm talking.
You say things with a little bit more enthusiasm and emphasis. I mean, like...
Oh, I have to, otherwise they would get lost in translation.
Yeah, like, I mean, our good friend Bentai. Hi, Bentai, I know you're watching.
Hi, Bentai.
You know, his voice is pretty much the same whether he's just in voice chat or whether he's streaming. But he does seem to have a little bit more pep when he's streaming, you know?
Yeah.
But then there's other people that just, like, do a complete whole voice, you know, like... Okay.
Like some birds in here.
Like some birds. Like I said, this is my normal voice.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
Okay, maybe I just put on voice too. Hire me for voice acting. I have great range.
I have great range. I don't know. I mean, even when I'm talking IRL, I'm very deadpan. And I think that's just a product of the fact that inside I am dead. And work sucks it out of me. So, you know, 90% of my week I'm just, you know, here we're talking about things, you know. Yeah, that's your problem right there. I inflect a little bit at work to tone to other people that I do not hate them when they think I hate them. I'm just trying to tell them what their problem is. You know? got in trouble with that a little bit when I first started. It was like, well, you know, Dre, you just talk a little bit. You talk a little bit too monotone for people's liking, and you come across like a dick. I'm like, oh, okay.
I don't.
Well, I
know
guess I
what
have to
you're
use my
talking
customer service
about.
voice now. And
oh God, you in customer service?
What?
I would love to see you in customer service with no filter.
I mean, if I had no filter, I would no longer be in customer service. I got in trouble 2 times last year because I dropped the filter just a little bit too smudge. Like actual write-ups are on my profile. Just a little smudge.
I work in with my work. I often read correspondence, and I'm not the one who writes the response letters, but if I did, 90% of them would be, "Thank you for your response. Please read the original letter we sent you and then respond again."
Mm-hmm. Per the email that we sent.
People don't read shit. People don't read. I mean, they read a headline. They'll read a headline or a header, and maybe the first sentence or two.
My first 5 rules, my first 5 words of any email usually have to convey what I mean for them to do, or what the rest of this is about, right? Especially in IT, where you can lose people in jargon very quickly, right? So you have to go, this is an important update about you, right? And then they'll read a little bit further. But if you say, this is an important update about the systems, people go, yeah, that doesn't concern me, until they realize that their computer's turned off in the middle of the day because they weren't paying attention. You know, it's just, no one reads anymore.
I have a coworker who has worked with me for over 6 years, and we use computers all day. Our job is a computer job. She didn't know what I was referring to when I said web browser. She didn't know what a web browser was.
That's incredible work, actually, to be honest. To have been around this long.
And not know that...
This long, yeah. Mm-hmm.
She just thought it was, oh, you mean the internet? Like... It reminds
me of a user that I had actually really recently that was like, can I get a different Chrome for my computer?
A different Chrome?
I had a pause for a hot second, and before I realized they were asking me if they wanted if I could give them a different browser to use.
Yes, we're gonna be giving you a Netscape Navigator. Because that seems to be more Chrome. From your time.
You can have another Chrome, old man. You can have, we call this one Chrome.
Honestly, what you should just do is just change the icon on our desktop.
Well, so, you know, a lot of, well, we're not going to get too far into this, but a lot of browsers use Chromium, right? So that you end up looking and acting a lot like each other, structurally speaking. So all I did was I just opened up Edge and like, yes, see, that's the Chrome that I like to use. And oh man, I lost brain cells trying to keep it in while on the phone. I was almost laughing the entire time. God. But we're not here to talk about browsers.
No, it's still Pride. It's still Pride Month, and
it is still Pride Month. And like a good laugh, it is always healthy to laugh and to have a normal heart. I had it in my head. The words made more sense. We're watching The Normal Heart.
Okay. You said that we need to have a laugh. I read the quick 2-sentence synopsis of this movie, and something tells me that this is not a movie that's going to involve much laughing.
You read too much. Read too much too fast.
Well, let's see here. The film depicts the rise of the HIV/AIDS crisis in New York City between 1981 and 1984. Hilarious!
I mean, it is if your name is Ronald Reagan.
Well, fuck Reagan. Fuck Reagan. Fuck Bush.
Fuck Reagan.
I think Bush did more evil during the Reagan administration than Reagan actually did.
Oh, 100%. But Reagan... You know what? We need a scapegoat, and I think Reagan deserves more sins to cast him further into the bowels of hell.
These podcasts I listen to, and they always talk about like they talk about the rise of everything that sucks in this country right now, and they always say it's like, they said it's like basically we're like Seinfeld with Newman. Every time we look back and we find his name pop up, Reagan,
Newman, yeah. Released in 2014, as Twig said, this movie depicts the rise and fall of the AIDS crisis, HIV and AIDS crisis. So, as a fair warning, right, watch this when you're in a decent mood and you can handle some heavy topics. All right? Fair warning. It is based on a book of the same name by Larry Kramer. Also, who wrote the screenplay. It was directed by Ryan Murphy, stars Mark Ruffalo, Matt Bomer, Taylor Kitsch, Jem Parsons, Julia Roberts. Hold on. I thought I had to sneeze. Alfred Molina.
I thought you were holding in a bazinga.
No, sorry. I thought I had to sneeze. Alfred Molino, Joe Mantello, B.D. Wong, Jonathan Groff, Steven Spinella, Finn Woodrock, Dennis O'Hare, Corey Stoll, Danielle Ferland, Frank DiHulio, and Adam B. Shapiro. These names might not mean anything to you, but notably a lot of them are... Well, I just lost Twig.
No, I just lost you.
Hello, VNet? Hello?
Oh, VNet must have, let me... Oh! Steam servers failed. Make sure you're running
damn
YouTube
it,
Studio.
They're updating Steam servers right now.
Okay, it's okay. We can fix this. We can do a thing. Keep talking. Don't worry. I'll get you on screen. We're just going to assume you're right away. You just keep talking about the movie, and I will get you up on there.
Are you doing a technical difficulties moment?
No. Just keep going.
Okay.
You're still here. We can still hear you. This is content. Yeah. This is content.
Okay. A lot of these characters, a lot of these actors are people famous for being either gay themselves or in the spectrum of sexuality or adjacent to the community. And it's actually really, really well casted, in my opinion, all across the board. All of these actors, especially Mark Ruffalo, Jem Parsons, Taylor Kitsch, Matt Bomer, all do an excellent job in this movie.
Is Mark Ruffalo LGBTQ?
No. But he's a very big advocate. As far as I'm aware, no. But you know how people can be in Hollywood sometimes.
Yeah, he's just a good ally,
And he's a good ally.
Yeah, I mean, I know Jem Parsons is gay.
Mm-hmm. It was released, I think, straight to HBO. Didn't get a box office, reception. Which is actually, I think, maybe our first... No, our second, because we watched Klaus. Klaus was a Netflix-only movie. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly. Bond's probably going to light me up if I'm wrong. But it is probably our second straight to like streaming service movie.
Oh, cool. So it's on. I just checked Max, and it's on Max. I don't need to search too hard for it.
Yeah, it's on Max. It was released on DVD and Blu-ray back when they were still doing those things. It won a number of prizes at the Critics' Choice Award for Best Movie, Best Actor. Best Supporting Actor. Sorry. It won a Humanitas Prize for a 90-minute longer or network syndicated TV show. Online Film and Television Association won Best Motion Picture, won Best Actor in Motion Picture Miniseries. It won Best Supporting Actor for Matt Bomer, Best Direction of Motion Picture by Ryan Murphy, Best Writing of Motion Picture of Miniseries by Larry Kramer. It won a Primetime Emmy Awards for Outstanding Television Movie. It won a Primetime Creative Arts Emmy Award for Outstanding Makeup. Won an American Cinema Editors Award for Best Edited Miniseries. It won a Dorian Award for Best TV Drama. It won a GLAAD Award for Outstanding TV or Movie Series, Gracie Award for Outstanding Female Actor, Guild of Music Supervisors Awards for Best Music Supervision, which is an award I didn't even know existed. It won a Producers Guild of American Awards, the Stanley Kramer Award. It won a Satellite Award for Best Actor in a Miniseries and Motion Picture. Screen Actors Guild, Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor. Yeah, and it was nominated for a shit ton more. It all was pretty much shot from within Little Italy, New York City.
You mean Littlely? I call it Littlely.
Chat, I need a new host because this one's about to be fucking cooked.
Come on, yeah. Little Italy. Littlely was right there.
Literally, I hate that it works. I think the thing that pisses me off the most is that it works, and that it's now going to be a forever burned into my brain as something to use. So this was released in 2014, and this is the last bit. It had a sequel in development, and the sequel has been in development since 2014.
That's 11 years. That's a long time.
I don't think it's coming. But yeah, that's the movie. This is the part where I ask you, why haven't you seen the movie?
Because until you recommended it, I had never even heard of it.
Yep, that registers. I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
And we already went over the blurb that you know because you read it.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I know is the name of it, who's it. I mean, basically everything we've talked about, that's what I know.
That's fair. I'm gonna do a little blurb. So one of the things that I feel is very important and why I wanted to do this movie with or without a guest is because it is Pride Month and it is very important to understand how we've gotten here as a queer community. Why when people hound us, why they're like, if homosexuality is so safe, why are there no elders? It's because all of our elders died. Not all of them, but most of them, right? I'm lucky to know as many elder queers as I know in my lifetime. And every one of them has had a story, right, akin to any veteran from World War II about going through these times.
Yeah. I mean, I know several elder gays myself, and all of them are lesbians.
Yeah, exactly. How many elder gays do you know that are men? Like, just offhand. Like, I'm talking like older than 60.
There's one man I know from improv who's about 60 years old.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, the AIDS crisis is still technically ongoing. It never disappeared. It just, we have better prevention, better awareness.
Oh, don't worry. The HHS just eliminated all the funding for the new distribution of the drugs.
And that's the other part. I needed to plug the fact that because of ongoing events, we were literally within arm's reach of
a cure,
of an HIV cure. I mean, not even arm's reach. It was within our hands, and it lost its funding. And if that doesn't piss you off, I don't know what will.
The research that was done hopefully still exists, and hopefully the European Union can pick up the slack.
That is the hope, and that is the hope that I'm clinging on too hard.
But no, fuck HIV. Fuck
HIV,
disease.
fuck AIDS, and fuck Ronald Reagan.
And fuck Ronald Reagan. And if that offends you, then fucking
fuck
get
him.
Out of here.
Fuck his family. Fuck anyone who's ever benefited from his shitty fucking policies. If there was the only movie, in my opinion, that would trump this movie, in terms of importance to watch, is if there was a comparable movie about the ongoings of Stonewall and what led up to it.
The first Pride was a riot.
The first Pride was a riot that started with a black trans woman throwing a brick at a cop car after they were raided at their gay bar.
Yep.
And that is how we have Pride. And I feel like me saying the only movie that would trump an AIDS movie is a Stonewall movie is very valid. It's kind of like watching Passion of the Christ for the gays, you know, which is a horrible thing to say out loud.
Okay, you know what? I know we want to move on with this, but since you brought it up, if I had to make a list of the absolute worst movies I've seen of all time,
yeah,
Passion of the Christ might be number one.
I mean, yeah.
It was an hour and a half of watching a man get tortured. That's the movie.
It's longer than an hour and a half. Isn't it like 2.5?
Yeah, well, not the entire 2 hour running. I mean, you know what I mean. It's just like...
It's unless you're religious, that movie sucks ass.
I was religious. I was religious at the time I saw it, and I still hated it.
For my family, it was the pinnacle of cinema for the Easter season, and we were forced to watch it once we were of age. Every year. Without popcorn. It was awful. But yeah, Twig, knowing what we've talked about and knowing what the blurb is, can you make us some predictions?
Well, let me bring up the sheet. See, this is tough. How do you make predictions about a movie with this topic? You know?
Mm-hmm. I think you can make some predictions about the course, like, you know, the main character and what all is going on in broad strokes. I think we could be a little forgiving in that zone.
Yeah. So let's see here. I'm going to say early on, a close friend, perhaps former lover of the lead, dies of HIV. I think it's going to be an early thing that happens and kind of spurs it on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say there's a scene where he brings the story to a newspaper with lots of data and is told it's not an important story.
So you're coming at this from like a Mark Ruffalo's like a reporter kind of angle.
Kind of like a reporter. I think he's an activist. I think he becomes an activist. So, God, what is his profession? I'm going to say... I don't think he's a... I think I saw something on there because I'm not going to count this prediction because I think I remembered just catching it at a glimpse of it. I think his character is a writer, but not necessarily a journalist. So I'm not going to count that as a prediction because I did think I I think I remember catching that, and I don't want that didn't count. Let's see here. Jeez, I don't. This is hard. This is hard. I think he's going to. How do you make predictions about a story based off of a true event? That's just the hard thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe lead me prodding questions or something. This is really hard here. I'm gonna say that he will be kicked out of a politician's office at some point. What I'm saying is he's not going to have an easy time of it. Yeah, he's going to go to politicians like, you need to do something about this. You need to leave. Yeah, something like that. I'm sorry. This is probably the most difficult one to make predictions for that I've ever had. I think I'm gonna only do 5.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'm gonna do middle thing here, and I'm gonna do my final one. Is it will end with the lead character being diagnosed with HIV himself.
I think these are good predictions. I mean, again, you're going off of nothing.
Yeah, I just feel like I want to say it's just like I feel like there needs to be some sort of triumph near the end. You know what I mean? Some sort of victory. I'm gonna say eventually finds a journalist willing to tell the story, and it ends up breaking and becoming a conversation nationally. I think he's going to eventually find somebody who's willing to cover it, because it did eventually get nationwide coverage in real life. It just took too long. So I think it's going to end with him finally breaking through and finally. So yeah, those are my predictions. I don't know how accurate they are. I feel like that's not the point of this episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has been a long intro, but it's okay because we haven't kept a guest waiting, because our guest this week is a Drayfrjg.
It's you. It's all of you.
It's you. It's all of you. It's all
Our
of us.
captive audience.
We're gonna have this conversation. We highly encourage comments on this one, especially if you have stories or comments to make about it. We want to hear it when we get to this next part of it, because it's an important conversation to have, and I'm sure several of you will have insights that, the two of us have not brought up, especially me being, a sissy.
Don't.
I know.
Don't say that.
Don't
say that. Don't say that.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, guys, when we return, we'll have watched The Normal Heart.
Yes, we will. See you soon.
And we're back, baby!
We're back. And I watched this movie. And, yeah, you know that movie Grave of the Fireflies we watched?
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie hardly made me cry at all compared to this one.
Yeah.
This was one of the most devastating and difficult movies to watch I think I've ever seen. And I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah. You're not like, I hate this movie. It sucks. It's awful to get there. You mean it like it's moving and it's powerful and it's so good. It's just so good. I mean, God, where do we start? So yeah, this is based off of a true story, and all of the characters in this movie, their names are fictional, but they're all based off of real people, and they all have real life counterparts. Yep.
And oh God, the struggles they went through. I mean, basically, Mark Ruffalo's character is kind of our lead character, and he becomes kind of the face of the movement to take HIV/AIDS seriously, and helps found an organization for the spreading of information and reaching out to homosexuals across the country to give them the information about it, and really is trying to be like the lead advocate for, hey, this is happening and something needs to be done about it now. And it's basically goes through his struggles meeting with the doctor played by Julia Roberts, as seen here. And she's one of the only few people that really understands what exactly is going on and how serious it is. And going into this movie, I was expecting him to have pushback from the media. I was expecting him to have pushback from the government. But I didn't think about it, and I'm getting it's which, it's part of me not being part of the community. But the thing I didn't really expect so much was all the pushback he received from the gay community, and how he was seen as, by you saying that we need to take precautions to stop this disease, you're setting back our movement, and you're telling us not to have the liberation that we've been fighting so hard to have. that was an aspect of it that I was not anticipating. And honestly, this movie worked so well to be actually kind of eye-opening to me, to make me consider that side of it, because obviously that did actually happen.
Yep.
But that's a side of the story that you don't hear too often.
And it gets stated very early on in the movie by Mark Ruffalo's character, is that he like, the doctor's like, you gotta get out there and start telling them to stop having sex. And he very early on, he says, you try that, you go out there and tell them that the movement has to be more than just us having sex with other men, right? Because they've made sex their entire identity. And obviously the doctor's like, well, then obviously you have nothing else. I have nothing else to help you with, and you have nothing to help me with. And like shoehorns him out. Before, one of his friends comes in with with AIDS, right? Or in the movie at that time, as they were calling it, the new gay cancer, right? Because it's true. I mean, and he's absolutely right. Like Mark Ruffalo's character has very poignant jabs at the gay community within the first 20 minutes of the movie, where he I hate how we self-victimize and how we never can just I can't remember exact words, but he's like, I hate how we play the victim card when we don't have to, right?
Yeah.
And that we've made and I also in the beginning he gets made fun of and basically kind of called out by the community on Fire Island because he dared to ask everyone, how about we make our movement more about love and less about sex, because the current climate makes it hard to find love, right? It makes it hard to find someone you want to settle down with. Because as you saw, the community promoted a lot of promiscuity, a lot of having a lot of sex as often as possible, and obviously that was to their detriment. Because as stated in the movie later on, it goes through the gay communities like wildfire,
Yeah. Like person A sleeps with person B. Person B has only ever slept with person A. Person B enters a monogamous relationship with person C. And person C could have been monogamous with B and never been with anybody else before, but because of B's prior contact with A, now C's got it as well. And it's just, the way that diseases spread, it's like any STD, and any kind of pandemic, really, right? Yeah.
Once it's out of I guess a containable amount of people, it gets really hard to contain it, because as we saw with, for example, COVID, getting people to follow precautions is really hard, especially when they have strong opinions, or it runs counterintuitive to their identity, right? Or how they want to represent themselves.
Government can't tell me what to do.
And I mean, unfortunately, fortunately for AIDS, one of the simplest things to stop it is to be safer, get tested, wear condoms during sex, be careful how many people you sleep with, things that are counterproductive to a movement who based all of their movement on the sole idea of having sex. I mean, as much as this is an awareness piece, it's also scathing criticism too, in a way, because as you said, you don't, for people who are not part of the gay community or part of a leftist community, right? You don't realize how much actual infighting there is between these groups. And there's infighting, right? Personalities clash, people like power, people like celebrity, people like fame, or believe their cause is better than another person's cause. And so, like Twig found out, you get slapped with this pretty early on, and you continue to get slapped with it throughout the movie, because the gay community isn't one homogenous group, right?
What? You're telling me that any group of people is not all a bunch of, same people who all believe and do exactly the same thing? Shocking.
I'm sorry to say. However, that is how media treats gays, right? And again, as much as a scathing criticism of the gay community, he's also scathing criticism of everyone else. As the movie progresses, we see how the government doesn't do anything, because Ronald Reagan believes it's fully God's plan and God's punishment for these things, right? Gay cancer only affects gay men. somehow we forgot gay women exist until it starts affecting gay women because some of them contracted either through needle use or close contact and proximity with gay men who have it. Right?
Also, bisexuals exist.
And then also the bisexual factor, right? As one of the characters in the movie finds out, being bisexual has its risks as well, right? It is hard. It is hard to watch this movie, right? First time I watched it, I was still pretty conservative leaning, right? I was still in that mindset where I was like, not really like super conservative, but I wasn't really liberal per se. So
you were in your libertarian phase.
I was in my libertarian phase, and my girlfriend at the time, I had said something to her about her uncle who was gay, and she's like, I can't continue dating you until you get a better idea of what it means to be gay and what these, like, because I think I said some age joke to her, and so she made me watch this, and it was eye-opening, right? Not having really been exposed to a lot of gay people, and the gay people that I knew were very flamboyantly gay. I had no idea, the range, the breadth of who all could be gay, because in my tiny mind, right, my tiny worldview, to be gay meant to be flamboyant, right?
That's definitely the stereotype, and if you grow up not knowing any out gay people, that is very much the that's very much, I mean, through high school, it's just like, every depiction of gay people I saw was the stereotype that talks like this, and it's just like, ugh.
It doesn't go into all the gay men who don't sound like that, who sound
which is
very normal.
I actually have to give a lot of respect for The Office, because the character of Oscar is gay and is not any of the stereotypes, and is
until they tell you he's gay, you're like, that's just a guy.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the thing. Oscar is one of the, and it's so sad that he's one of the first really good depictions of a gay character on TV, considering he wasn't around until the 2000s, like mid 2000s.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it's just like, okay, I watched South Park growing up. Big gay Al. That's what gay people are like. I'm trying to think of like gay characters that I saw on TV in the 90s or something, but there were so few. I never watched Will and Grace, but yeah, it's just the thing is there's the depictions, and
Will and Grace is the category of flamboyant gays, right? The gays that have the gay accent, if you will.
Well, I think in Will and Grace, isn't there like two gay guys are lead characters, and one of them is flamboyant, and one of them is.
I haven't watched it in a while, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that even the other gay has a little bit more flamboyancy to him than what would be typically called just a normal person.
But like almost, like that's the thing that I actually like about this movie is that like. You see a pretty broad spectrum of personalities and mannerisms throughout the characters in this movie. Just counting the gay men, but it's just like it's like you see people from every walk of life and every type of personality and every manner of speaking, and so you do have some of the flamboyantly stereotypical ones, which, I mean, hey, let's not deny. Those people exist. A lot of them exist. It's not just a stereotype.
Oh,
but
and I mean, I'm one of those gays, right? In the real world, I'm so fucking boring to look at and be around. Like, I'm fun to be around. Okay, let me rephrase that. I'm fun to be around, but in a work setting, in a normal setting, if you do not know me and I'm not comfortable around you, I am the most stereotypical guy that you'll ever meet, right? I just have long hair and that's it. But no, like I don't know. Part of this movie was probably also the catalyst to my self-discovery, if you will, because I had finally seen. Again, this comes down to what I've said in past movies: representation matters, right?
Yes.
Seeing someone in your same predicament or same, I guess, mode of existence, existing within something you think is out of reach or unattainable. Is incredibly powerful, right? Like last week's movie with Albert Nobbs, Albert's character didn't really have a frame of reference for other AFABs living as men until he met one, and he's like, wow, I could have so much more. And it's much the same for for gay kids and gay characters and seeing something that's not just a stereotype, right?
We can all have so much more.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
except billionaires who deserve so much less.
Yeah, they actually they need less. They don't need to deserve, they should have less. They should have way, way less. But no, I like as an example, I don't know how many kids you grew up with that were diverse in upbringing, but on my upbringing, we always had a token black kid, and because his representation was token black kid in media, that's how he acted until we hit about preteens and teenager stuff, and he's like, no, I want to have a personality. And he got weird. He got weird outside of our norm, right? But he's all the better for it now. But it's like that's just what I'm saying is like, I feel like if he had better role models or better characters depicting what he could be, he wouldn't have ended up in such a stereotypical fashion as a kid growing up, right? And thank God he was able to quote unquote break the mold. But like, I don't know how I would have ended up if I had representation for someone who was agender and or bisexual, right? In quite the same way, right? Because as I've said before with Rocky Horror Picture Show, right, that was kind of an awakening of something that would come out much later on in my life, right? So I don't know.
I mean, I know what you mean. When I was young, I watched the movies Beetlejuice and the two Addams Family movies, and it was my awakening to realize, God damn, I like goth girls. We're the same.
Not. Not quite. But
I know. That was a joke. Thank you for the bonk. I deserve the bonk.
I know. No. I think everyone realized they liked goth women when they saw Addams Family and Beetlejuice. I mean, come on.
Christina Ricci was age appropriate. She's only a year older than me. It was okay.
Winona Ryder. Yeah. But I don't know. I think this movie is important to watch. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch it.
Yeah. Because I mean, let's kind of go down more of the technical things. The acting,
yeah, absolutely.
The acting, absolutely phenomenal.
Superb. Mark Ruffalo nails the character.
Like,
really.
I think I really like Mark Ruffalo as an actor. I think he's moving up there as one of my favorite actors. I've enjoyed him in everything I've seen. Once
you get past him as Bruce Banner,
which he was a great Bruce Banner. Don't get me wrong,
and he's a great Bruce Banner.
Yeah,
I think once you get past that it's kind of like the typecasting of Robert Pattinson, right? Where people always saw him in one thing, and they kind of have that image of him in their mind until they see more. And they're like, oh wait, no, this actor is actually fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, for Mark Ruffalo, it's just like earlier this year I saw Mickey 17, and he plays a Trump-ish character. He's a politician who, he's a failed politician who leads, an expedition out into space, and it's all just a big ego trip thing, and he is, oh my god, he's so good.
He sells characters. Good. He sells characters really well, in my opinion.
Julia Roberts was phenomenal. She played a doctor who was one of the first doctors to really understand it. She goes into the whole history about how she had polio as a child, and that's why she's in a wheelchair. And how, seeing that the polio vaccine was able to prevent people from having to go through what she went through, she's determined to create the same kind of cure and treatment for AIDS and HIV. She's motivated because she doesn't want other people to go through what she went through, and she's very passionate, but she's very blunt and doesn't put up I loved that character. Emma Bruckner was the name of the character, but that's based off of a real person named Linda Lobenstein.
Yep. I think one of the most powerful things that, with her character is that you see how back-to-back these pandemics actually were, right? Because this was, the 80s this takes place, right?
And polio really hit really heavy in the 1950s, into the 60s.
Yeah, into the 60s, and it was still kind of around, but it was still like I can't remember when they officially said polio was out, but it was still kind of ongoing because vaccinations, and vaccination adoption for it was still kind of slow in rural parts, and as we say, there's kind of a backslide on that.
And now people don't
like,
get polio anymore because vaccines fucking work.
Exactly, but she says very early on that there's still so much we don't know, like about the immune system, that it's hard to tell what this is, right? Because they're still calling it a cancer well into the movie before someone calls it an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's even a line that's like it's like sickle cell is the comparison that I think they use in the movie at some point. It's like sickle cell, but it's another autoimmune disease that they bring up as comparison to help people understand. But even then, I mean, it was still called the gay cancer well into the early 2000s, right? By a lot of conservative media, and it didn't really go away until like we were in high school. Like the stigma of AIDS and HIV stuck around for such a long time, even well after it got under control. So like it's obviously still a problem. Shared needle usage is still the highest rate of infection, though. It's no longer sexual contact is the highest rate of transmission. Because again, sex education works, guys.
Yep.
You've never heard of it. You also live in Germany, and Germany was one of the quick adopters that maybe this isn't their fault. like this isn't God's punishment, I should say. You guys didn't really buy into that theory, really, much at all.
Yeah. But man, so the soundtrack in this, it doesn't have like big memorable tunes like a Lord of the Rings is gonna have, but the soundtrack was very fitting and really helped you feel the raw emotion in a lot of the scenes. So, I mean, really great soundtrack there. The cinematography was pretty good. Nothing astounding, but it was good cinematography, good framing of shots, nothing to complain about there. There wasn't boring, boring, like, shot, reverse shot on a couch framing, which is boring. You didn't do much of that. And, it was a good length. I think maybe it started to feel a little long towards the middle, but at the same time, it's a little over 2 hours long, and at the end of it, you didn't feel like it dragged on. So I felt it was an appropriate length.
Lull. It has a lull in the middle, I think, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
But it's not like an intrusive lull. It's kind of just like okay, I feel like we've hit the horse with the car and run over it a few times. We can move on, right?
Yeah.
I think it's around the Rolodex of when Jim Parsons' character is going through his Rolodex of other gays he knows, and it starts getting, and it's like the scene after scene is him removing a card and putting it onto a pile, right?
Yeah. I mean, I really liked that character, Tommy Boatwright, based off of the real person Roger McFarlane. I really liked that character, and this is the first role I've seen Jim Parsons in that was not a comedic role. Yeah. And people, can you start giving him more dramatic roles? Because I mean, Jim Parsons was amazing in this movie.
Wasn't he? He was in another movie where he had a sort of serious role.
The Muppets?
No.
Stop it. I would like to hear him do more voice acting, though, because he does have a pretty distinct, full of character voice. But I wonder if he doesn't get cast in voice acting roles, because when they try and do that, they're just like, no, you just sound too much like Sheldon, and we don't want to just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, typecasting. That's a danger.
But that's the thing. It's like Jim Parsons in this movie, he was kind of one of Ned's like closest allies in the gay community. He was the one who was like kind of constantly standing up for him and being there for him when all the infighting was happening. But at the end, he's just like, I'm sorry, I can't. Because, spoiler alert, but like the thing, like Ned ends up, Mark Ruffalo's character Ned ends up getting kicked out of the organization that he helped found because they all thought he was being too brash, too open, and too aggressive in his messaging. And they also accused him of making it about him rather than about the community. That's a heart-wrenching scene to see. Out of many, many heart-wrenching scenes, there's arguments between characters that are heart-wrenching. There's scenes where you see people degrading and dying of AIDS that is heart-wrenching. The scene where they were flying the guy to Phoenix to see his mother, and then on the airplane, and then all the struggles that went with just to get couldn't get a cause of death, couldn't get a death certificate, couldn't get a proper cremation, and just all these things. You there, Dre?
Yep. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm just petting my cat.
Okay. Petting cat is good. But you know what I mean? It's just like that scene there, like when they're taking the ashes and the body in, and the mother is just crying in hysterics.
Yeah.
I mean, I was sobbing like a little fucking baby.
It's awful.
It's
hard to watch, right?
There's so many scenes in this movie that are incredibly difficult to watch, because you just the depiction of suffering is some of the best I've ever seen, and when you know that this is not a fictional movie, it hits that much harder.
Yeah, that it's fictional characters of real people, right? Fictionalized characters of real people. It's hard. And it, like I said in the pre-show, there's a reason why there aren't a whole lot of gay older men, and it's because a huge chunk of them died because of AIDS, right? We're starting now to see older gays show up, right? But they're closer to millennial ages and Gen X ages than they would have been to like gay boomers or other age groups whose names are escaping me. But you get what I mean.
Well, it goes greatest generation, silent generation, baby boomers, then Gen X, then millennials, then Gen Z.
Yeah, and it's heartbreaking to think about. There's just a huge chunk of a population's history gone because so many of them died in what it could effectively be called, political non-action genocide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the Reagan administration didn't lose anything by letting all these men die.
I mean, there's the scene where he finally gets the call to go to the White House, and he's talking with the guy, and it's like, it seems like the conversation's going somewhere. It seems like the guy is listening, and then he asks a question. So is this, can this affect straight men? I don't have that evidence right now. So you have no evidence that this affects straight men. Okay, cool. That's all I needed to know. Get the fuck out.
Yep.
And two things to say about that. Well, one, obviously, it did affect straight men. Many straight men have been infected with HIV. It is very much a problem that affects every single person. And two, and this disappoints maybe a little bit more, is it doesn't fucking matter if it only doesn't affect straight men, because it affects human goddamn beings, and there should be something fucking done about it.
Yeah. Welcome to the struggle. welcome to the fight. Here's your button and your angry sign.
I mean, that's the thing, is this movie was both heartbreaking and saddening, but also infuriating. And yeah, it's a topic that makes me really fucking mad, because people died that didn't need to die, because people didn't care about them.
Yeah.
And they didn't care about them. They didn't care about them simply because of who they were. And of all the negative tendencies that humans tend to have, that is by far the most toxic.
Yeah. Until it affects me, I don't care. Right? That's a lot of people's mentality. It's god fucking awful.
Yeah. Sorry, maybe I just need to keep having this on the entire show. Just angry. Because I am angry, and I'm still angry, because you know, though the disease has been more under control and well understood, these same communities are still facing discrimination, oppression, and violence, and it's got to fucking stop. I mean, I'm upset. I mean, I've made myself upset, but the world has made me upset because it's not fucking right. I was about to say, it's just like, I know so many people from the community who are all wonderful people, but that belies my point. It didn't matter even if I don't know any. It doesn't matter. Like, I could know 0 trans people, and I should still fight for their rights, because you shouldn't have to know somebody and be friends with them to see their humanity and understand their humanity. And I know it's an easy way to argument. It's just like, say, how dare you do this? I have LGBTQ friends, and that shouldn't be an argument, because it shouldn't matter if I have LGBTQ friends or not. I should fight for people that I am, you know, I don't know any Ukrainians. I am still fighting and support Ukrainian people. Look, I know this is not the most lighthearted, happy tone that we often have on this show, but part of Pride Month is it's okay to be angry when your reasons for being angry are justified and have to do, you know what I mean? It's like, anger is thanks for getting out your bird milk. I could use a sip.
Sorry, I was thirsty.
Yeah.
Put it away.
Sorry. Did you have anything to add to that, or are you pretty much
no?
Yeah.
I think you've nailed it on the head. Is that it doesn't matter, and then this is the point of Pride, right? It doesn't matter if you are not one of these people, right? That poem about, and then they came for whatever, right? You shouldn't have to worry about them getting to you, because you should be fighting for people before that point, right? That's my personal philosophy, is that even if they don't ever come for me, I'm still gonna fight for someone else. Because I do fully believe that unless someone's hurting someone or their lifestyle is actively harming more than themselves, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, which of course their thing is, well, they are harming them. They're grooming children. That's the problem with so many of these evil fucking right-wingers, is that even if a group is not hurting anybody, they will lie to say you are.
Yeah. It's honestly very upsetting. And, you know, not much we can do besides continue supporting people that we know and we love, and continue being excellent people towards those people and those communities, and, you know, continue raising awareness, because this fight isn't done. As much as a lot of younger queers seem to think, the fight's not done, and it won't be done until we don't hear about our lifestyle, our choices, our existence being questioned every time it gets brought up. You know,
it's like we almost dream of the day where we don't need a Pride Month.
Yeah, exactly.
Where even a time when even the elderly gays remember being accepted from when they were children.
Exactly.
I
feel like we've talked.
I mean, there's really not much. Like, okay, we haven't talked that much about the movie, but like, what are we more saying?
The movie. Yeah, go ahead.
The movie is the real life story of it, and the acting and the way it's portrayed is phenomenal. God, the other scene that really made me cry, I just want to mention her, when the woman shows up and talks about her gay friend who died, and she's just like, what can I do to help? And Jim Parsons just hugs her, and yeah, even thinking about that scene is it's getting me cracked up. It's, to me, that scene right there was probably the saddest in the movie, and it's got a lot of company.
That's saying something.
Like, I don't know why that scene just touched me so hard, but it did.
Oh yeah. Need a moment?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Breathe.
I just, it is Pride Month. I want to I'm going to talk about my friend Belfie, who's a trans woman who unfortunately did die about a year and a half ago. So I've experienced loss. That, I'm not going to lie, that her death was the result of anti-trans discrimination. Obviously, there's a lot more going on in her life, and she had a lot of difficulties in it, but I have no doubt in my mind that if we live in a society that was accepting of trans people, and she didn't face the discrimination she did, she would still be alive.
Sorry, Twig.
I'm okay. But thank you for letting me be vulnerable.
Of course. There's no shame in feeling pain for lost friends. I think we've all lost someone, but it's especially hard during months like this when it's a friend who's lost because of discrimination. And, you know, I won't ever bemoan someone mourning friends.
So let's go on to those predictions. That's it.
You motherfucker. Let's get on to your predictions.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to pop out of it, you know?
You just need to rebound with some dark humor. Otherwise, what's the point? Get your predictions.
Yes. Okay. So, we're bringing Rodney back again.
We're bringing Rodney back.
Yeah, Rodney was summoned during Triple C, and thank you, Rodney. That was very nice.
Very kind of you. Very kind.
Yeah. All right. So, early on, a close friend, perhaps former lover of lead, dies of HIV. I mean, early on, a lot of people that he knows die. Like, was that first guy that they went to the boathouse with? I mean, I guess you could call him a close friend.
Yeah.
I would say that, yeah, that friend dying was kind of the inciting incident. So that's basically my prediction was. So I got that good. Bring story to newspaper, lots of data, is told it's not an important story. Yeah, that kind of happens when he goes there. He knew, I even know the reporter to go to, the gay reporter. And even then he's basically told, no, we can't tell this story. You don't think we've heard about it. We're not publishing it. So yeah, that happened. And then he ended up, as much as two men could be back then, married the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, there was one scene in the movie that made me kind of cry with joy, and that was the proposal scene, the "Will you move in with me?" And then the women in the background cheering and clapping and all that. I like that moment.
It's a good one.
Kicked out of a politician's office. Well, it wasn't really in the office, but there were several scenes where he would, he's going up to the mayor, you need to do something, and he gets kind of dragged away by security. I feel like that counts to be close enough, you think?
Yeah, I mean, the mayor is a politician.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only thing is that I specifically used the word office. They weren't in the office at the time, but he was kicked out. Well, actually, the White House guy, he was kicked out of there.
Yeah,
they called security on him.
He kicked out of the White House, so it's I count it. Agreed.
Eventually finds a journalist willing to tell a story and ends up becoming a national conversation. Kind of, but also kind of not. He does get on TV and is able to do it, but it didn't start. I don't know. What do you think? Does he feel?
I think this is a yellow one.
That's kind of what I was feeling.
Start a conversation, but it's not I think this was more of a prolific conversation starter, right? Where it's kind of everyone's talking about this no matter what.
And the one I'm most happy to be wrong about, which, of course, I did a little more research on it, and the character, Ned, was based off of real person Larry Kramer. So, Ned, the lead character of this movie, in the world of this movie, goes on to live until at least 2014 and write this movie. So, yeah, the writer of this movie is the person who it is essentially about. And if he was diagnosed with HIV, then I don't think he would have been able to do that. So this is the one I'm most happy that I am wrong about.
He died back in 2020.
Yeah. 3.5 out of 5. Not bad. Yeah.
With your passing grade, what did you think of this movie, and where would you place it on your listy poo?
Well, obviously, this movie goes into dumb fun. I mean,
obviously,
yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious to tell from our entire conversation that I have pretty much nothing but positive things to say about this movie. It's not a flawless movie. It's not a perfect movie. It also, I'm not sure if it passes that test of do I ever want to see this again. I don't think I ever want to see this again. But that was the reason why I dropped Albert Nobbs from great movie down to enjoyed it. But this is a far better movie than Albert Nobbs.
Absolutely.
It's a great movie. I'm just trying to decide if I want to put it in front of Catching Fire or not, because those two movies, I don't think you can really compare them against each other.
No, and it's not fair to, because they're two very different topics.
Yeah, their goals are... But would I show it to other people? Absolutely. I think I'm going to put it right here behind Hunger Games, because I definitely had more fun watching Hunger Games, and I'm definitely going to watch Hunger Games again, multiple times probably.
Yeah.
But like I said, I pretty much put these two movies both on tall pillars, but not rather than like on the same pillar with one slightly higher than another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a great movie. Watch it. I can't recommend it enough. It's like, but as Drayfrjg warned in the pre-show, go into it with a good headspace. Be in a good headspace and be prepared. Be prepared to cry.
Yeah. Well, folks, thank you for joining us today. We are going to be on an extended break because the next 3 weeks I am missing. I'm going on a migratory pattern around the world.
We'll be back on
sometime
July 6th, you think?
No. God, no. I'm not back till July. I don't get back into my nest until July 13th, basically. And so our first episode back, and this is going to be tentative on how I'm feeling after all these travels. Our first episode back probably will be the 20th. Obviously open to change because, you know, we'll see how I'm feeling. It'll be 3 weeks of straight travel for me, so I might need a little break. Otherwise, guys, thanks for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed this movie, and if you didn't get a chance to see it, please go watch it. It's very important that you go watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, what more can you say? It's an important movie. Which, you know, I kind of put that along, kind of, you know, much like Grave of the Fireflies, the other movie that made me cry. It's not a fun movie to watch, but it's an important movie to watch.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You have someone you want to raid?
But we gotta go see Baby Chickens.
We gotta go see Baby Chickens.
Gotta go see Baby Chickens.
I gotta go be a good pibbling.
Yep. So everybody, thank you for stopping by, and I hope to do some Corvid's Creepers and Conspiracies while Dre's away. But if not, we'll see you on July 20th. Jeez, that's a long ways away.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Whee! Ah! Ow.
All right. See ya all later.
Ciao.